The world often teaches people that strength is loud. It celebrates the noise of busy streets, the constant chatter of phones, the endless rush of tasks that leave little room for stillness. Yet somewhere beyond the clamor of everyday life, there exists a quiet truth that many overlook. Silence has a language of its own, and those who learn to listen to it often discover a kind of peace that cannot be found in noise. Sometimes the loudest healing happens in the quietest moments. This truth revealed itself slowly in the life of a man named Sam, though at first he did not understand what silence was trying to teach him. Sam lived in a city that never seemed to sleep. Cars moved like restless rivers through crowded streets, neon lights flickered in every direction, and people hurried past each other as if time itself were chasing them. Sam had once believed that this endless motion meant progress and success. He worked long hours, spoke little about his feelings, and carried his worries like invisible stones in his pockets. A tired soul often hides behind a busy life. Though Sam appeared strong on the outside, inside he felt worn down by thoughts he never gave himself time to face. Even his apartment, cluttered with work papers and half-read books, seemed to hum with restlessness. The walls echoed with the quiet chaos of a life lived too fast, each object a reminder of another deadline, another expectation, another worry. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Sam found himself walking without direction. The noise of the city seemed heavier than usual, pressing against his mind like a storm that refused to pass. His chest felt tight, and he could not explain why. When the mind is full of noise, the heart forgets how to breathe. Without realizing it, Sam had wandered far from the crowded streets and into a small park hidden between old buildings. It was a place many people ignored, but that night it felt like a doorway to something different. The gates were wrought iron, slightly rusted, and almost welcoming in their imperfection. A small path led inward, lined with mossy stones, and the faint scent of earth and old leaves reached Sam's nose, pulling him forward. The park was quiet in a way that felt almost sacred. The wind moved softly through the branches of tall trees, and the distant sound of the city faded into the background like a forgotten echo. Sam sat on a wooden bench beneath a large oak tree whose branches stretched wide across the night sky. For the first time in many months, he did nothing. No phone, no conversation, no task waiting to be completed. Just silence. Peace often waits in places where we finally stop running. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, creating patterns on the grass that danced with every subtle movement of the branches. At first the quiet felt uncomfortable. His thoughts rushed forward as if trying to fill the empty space around him. Memories he had ignored began to surface. Old disappointments, quiet regrets, and worries about the future all appeared in his mind like shadows stepping into the light. Sam almost stood up to leave, but something inside him whispered for patience. Silence is not empty, it is simply honest. The rustle of leaves sounded louder in this stillness, each tiny movement a reminder that life was still happening around him. Slowly, he began to notice the small details he had never seen, the way a tiny insect moved along the bark of the oak, the faint glimmer of dew on the grass, the distant hum of a train far away. Minutes passed slowly, and the tension in Sam's shoulders began to loosen. The wind brushed gently against his face, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and leaves. Somewhere nearby a bird stirred in the darkness. It was a small sound, but it reminded him of something simple and real. In quiet moments, the world reminds us that life is still breathing around us. He realized that the city had conditioned him to forget these subtleties, to miss the gentle rhythms that existed even amid chaos. Here, the world moved at a pace that felt natural, unhurried, and honest. Sam realized how rarely he had allowed himself to pause. For years he had been chasing deadlines, expectations, and the approval of people who barely noticed his exhaustion. He had believed that rest was weakness. Yet sitting beneath the oak tree, he felt something surprising. The silence was not judging him, it was not asking for anything. It simply allowed him to exist. Peace begins the moment we stop proving ourselves to the world. His mind began to drift into reflection, considering moments in his life where he had ignored joy, moments where he had overlooked beauty because he was too focused on noise. Over the following days, Sam found himself returning to the park. Sometimes he came early in the morning when the sky carried soft shades of blue and gold. Other times he visited at night when the moon hung quietly above the trees. Each visit felt like a small journey inward. The soul speaks softly, only silence gives it room to be heard. He began noticing patterns in nature, like the way a leaf would fall, spin, and land perfectly on the grass, or how a small squirrel moved cautiously along the branches. These moments, though small, carried weight, a subtle lesson about patience and observation. One morning he arrived just before sunrise. The air was cool, and a thin layer of mist drifted across the grass like a veil. As he sat on the familiar bench, he watched the first rays of sunlight stretch across the horizon. The world seemed calm, unhurried, almost thoughtful. Sam closed his eyes and took a slow breath. For the first time in a long while, he felt present. A single peaceful breath can untangle 1,000 anxious thoughts. The warmth of the sunlight began to touch his face, filling him with a sense of quiet hope he had long forgotten. As days turned into weeks, Sam noticed subtle changes within himself. His mind no longer raced as fiercely as before. The worries that once felt overwhelming began to lose their grip. They were still there, but they no longer controlled him. Silence had become a quiet teacher, showing him how to observe his thoughts without becoming lost in them. Not every thought deserves your energy, silence helps you choose which ones matter. He began journaling, not to impress anyone, but to process his feelings. Each word on paper became a thread connecting him to his inner self, helping him untangle complex emotions gently, without judgment. One afternoon while sitting beneath the oak tree, Sam saw an elderly man walking slowly along the path. The man carried no phone, no bag, nothing but a gentle expression and a calm presence. Eventually, the man sat on the bench beside Sam. For a while, they said nothing, simply watching the leaves move with the wind. After several minutes, the old man spoke softly. "People are afraid of silence," he said with a small smile. "But silence is where the heart finally rests." Sam nodded, sensing wisdom in those simple words. "I think I'm starting to understand that," he replied. The old man looked toward the trees. Noise fills the mind, but quiet heals the soul. Most people spend their whole lives chasing answers in loud places, not realizing that peace grows in stillness. After that brief conversation, the old man stood and continued his walk, leaving Sam alone again with the wind and the trees. Yet the words remained with him. Sometimes a few quiet words can echo in the heart for a lifetime. Sam realized that wisdom could be fleeting in voice but lasting in its impression, lingering quietly like a seed planted in fertile soil. Sam began to carry the lessons of silence beyond the park. At work he paused before reacting to stressful situations. Instead of rushing through his days, he allowed moments of stillness between tasks. He noticed how differently people behaved when they were not constantly overwhelmed. Calm minds create kinder worlds. He began noticing small acts of kindness he had previously overlooked, a colleague offering tea, a stranger smiling unexpectedly, and he felt connected to life in a gentler way. He also began to take walks without music or distractions. The simple rhythm of his footsteps became a form of meditation. Birds sang above him, leaves rustled softly, and the sky changed colors with the passing hours. These were things he had ignored for years. The beauty of life is often quiet, waiting patiently for our attention. With each walk, he became more attuned to subtle movements, gentle sounds, and the hidden poetry of everyday life. One evening as Sam sat beneath the oak tree again, a memory surfaced from his childhood. He remembered visiting his grandmother in a small countryside home where evenings were peaceful and slow. She used to sit on the porch watching the sunset without saying much. As a child he had once asked her why she liked sitting quietly for so long. She had smiled gently and replied, "Because silence reminds me that life is bigger than my worries." At the time Sam had not understood what she meant. But now, sitting beneath the whispering leaves, her words felt clear. Wisdom often returns when the mind finally becomes quiet enough to receive it. The memory lingered, warming him, giving him a sense of continuity and rootedness in the ever-changing present. The more Sam embraced silence, the more he realized how healing it could be. His sleep improved, his thoughts felt lighter, and even difficult days no longer drained him completely. Silence had become a refuge where his spirit could rest. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of calm within them. He began sharing quiet moments with friends, not with words, but with gestures, a hand on a shoulder, a shared walk, a shared smile, letting them feel the comfort of stillness without the need to explain it. One rainy afternoon he visited the park again. The sky was gray, and gentle drops of rain tapped against the leaves like soft music. Sam sat on the bench and watched the ripples forming in small puddles along the path. The world seemed slower, almost thoughtful. Rain and silence share the same gift, they wash the dust from the mind. The rhythmic patter of rain created a melody that seemed designed to accompany his thoughts, each drop a gentle reminder that life, even in its challenges, could be beautiful and soothing. He realized that healing had not come from dramatic changes or sudden solutions. Instead, it had grown quietly through moments of stillness, breath by breath, day by day. The silence had given him space to feel, to reflect, and to release the burdens he had been carrying alone. True healing rarely makes noise, it grows quietly within the heart. Over time, Sam even found himself noticing the subtle joys in routine tasks, the warmth of sunlight on his desk, the aroma of coffee brewing, the simple satisfaction of completing a task without hurry. Each small moment carried weight, each breath a gift. Years later, Sam would still visit the park whenever life felt overwhelming. The oak tree remained strong, its branches stretching toward the sky as if reminding him of the quiet strength that lives within stillness. The city around the park continued its endless motion, but inside that small space of calm, time felt different. And whenever someone asked him how he had found peace in such a busy world, Sam would simply smile and say, "I stopped searching in the noise and started listening to the silence." Because in the end, silence had taught him a lesson many people spend their lives trying to understand. Quiet moments are not empty pauses in life. They are gentle doorways where the soul learns how to heal.